From the basement of La Penta, this is WICR.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sports Vault. I'm your host with the most, Jersey Joe Archino, and it is a little bit of a tiring morning for me today, as last night the Los Angeles Dodgers have to stay up and catch every Dodgers game. Ended about 2 o'clock in the morning, so a little bit tired, but it is time to power through and break down some Dodgers baseball. Obviously, last night the Dodgers handed their first loss of the season, losing to the Padres 7-3, and I think overall, when you look at the Dodgers' first 2 games, one of the big themes has definitely been timely hitting. I mean, timely hitting has been really important for them so far. Adrian Gonzalez, he looks like he hasn't skipped a beat so far. He's been very good, and that's what you always expect out of Adrian Gonzalez. He's always a guy you can always count on. Look, last year in terms of his standards, probably not his most impressive year. I think he hit about 287. Still very, very good for any player. But, I mean, he sets the bar so high. The way he's just always very consistent. I think Adrian Gonzalez is always a guy you can count on, and he looks like he's gotten off to a very good start. Now, in Game 1, Jimmy Rollins and Howie Kendrick, 2 of the big offseason pickups, really were the reason they won their first matchup. And I think that's really important. Hopefully, that sets the tone for their year, because Rollins and Kendrick have big roles with this team. They're really replacing a lot of production from last year. Now, Kendrick has been terrific. Even last night, he was part of driving in a big run. He's been phenomenal. Jimmy Rollins had a little bit of a sloppy plays in the infield yesterday. But I think overall, he's going to have a nice year. Again, as the leadoff man for them, he's got the speed, and he's replacing Dee Gordon, who had a terrific year. I mean, Dee Gordon was an all-star for the Dodgers last year. He was their best base runner by far. He stole so many bases. Dee Gordon, I thought, was going to be a tough guy to replace, because he was a very consistent leadoff guy. He really, really always put them in great position starting off the game. So I thought that was going to be a tough guy to replace, but Rollins looks good. He's definitely up there in age, but I mean, he looks like he's still got the crisp play to him. And then Yasiel Puig. Now, the first game, Yasiel Puig didn't really look like he had much, but even last night, you always get these glimpses of Yasiel Puig that just make your jaw drop. And again, it's just his arm strength, his athleticism. He shows you these little glimpses, and it's what's good for baseball. You need a guy like Yasiel Puig who's just not that boring other guy. Everything he does flashy. He does it, and he just screams athletic excellence, and it's just a joy to watch Yasiel Puig. Hopefully the bat will continue to pick up, because one of the things that I still can't wrap my mind around is how he dropped off so dramatically last season. The first half, he was as good as anybody. It seemed like after the All-Star break, after their 3-game win streak against San Fran, he just fell off the earth. I mean, I think he was hitting somewhere in the low 200s. It was just, I couldn't put my finger on it. He looked lost at the plate. He looked lost everywhere. This year, he's definitely got to be more consistent the entire year. We know how good of a player he is. We know how much athleticism he has. He's got a bigger role now this year, too. He's got more responsibility. Yasiel Puig has got a lot on his plate, and we got to see if he can handle it. I think he can. I think he's definitely shown all the potential that he has, but it's definitely something that you're going to want to continue to watch out for. In Game 1, though, Clayton Kershaw, the best pitcher in the game, according to me, and I really don't think that there's too many guys who can stack up with him. Not his most Clayton Kershaw-esque game, but I let it slide a little bit, maybe a little bit of rust there. 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 runs, one of them early to Matt Kemp, 2 bases on balls, and 9 strikeouts, 4.50 ERA. Again, I'm not too worried about it, mainly because first game, a little bit of wear rust on him. He did show a little bit here and there of getting his. And the one thing I never worry about Clayton Kershaw about is when he gets back into that form, he's a guy who always is going to be you can count on. Now, people are going to give shots at him at the playoffs, but I mean, let's not worry about that until we get there. For now, let's just focus on the regular season. Clayton Kershaw, the guy you're always going to get consistent stuff from. And the thing you always got to like about him is how well he works the pitch count. I don't think there's another pitcher in the game who could bounce back so effortlessly if the guy's in a 2-0 count or the guy's in a 3-0 count. The way he can so effortlessly regain his command and get that out is just incredible to me. And I just sit there and I watch and I'm in awe sometimes, just looking at the difficult situation he's in, composing himself, getting his mechanics and his form back, and just getting that out. It's something not a lot of guys can do, and it's something that it's just amazing to watch. Now, the bullpen, the first game was good. Didn't really do any damage last night in the first game of the bullpen. Peralta got the credited with the win. I think Hatcher got the save. Overall, not too bad in that department. Last night, the bullpen's the reason for the loss. I mean, it's as simple as that. Zach Greinke was on the mound, so I was excited to see how he would look. And he pitched very well. He gave up 1 run in the first inning. Aside from that, he was very good again. The 1-2 pitching punch for the Dodgers of Kershaw and Greinke, they're both very similar in the fact that they have excellent command. There's not a lot of guys who can command their pitches as well as the two of them can. And it's just working the count, working the strike zone, knowing what they want to throw and when to throw it. They just really have those instincts that it takes to always be in prime position. Even when the two of them don't always have their best stuff, just from an awareness of their situation, they can always usually power through. And it felt like that was it a little bit for Greinke last night. Wasn't the flashiest game for him, but again, the awareness that he has, he was able to get through a 1.50 ERA, 4 strikeouts, 1 earned run in the first inning, 2 hits, 6 innings pitched. Then when they turned it over to the bullpen, it was a complete disaster. Now, I got excited. 2 of the most consistent guys that they had last year in the bullpen was Paco Rodriguez and JP Howell. They're usually always guys, when they're in the game, you can count on them to kind of get you out of a tough spot. Now, Mattingly did pull Paco before he got to face another batter with two outs, and I thought that was clearly the move that didn't work, because the next guy he sent in, Garcia, he gave up a little bit of a big run that kind of changed the momentum of the game. Then again, Hatcher at the end, he was just the big 1-2 who gave up another 2 runs, gave up 3 hits. 4 runs are total accredited to him. So, I mean, basically the bullpen last night was a big part of it. Now, the infield did not help at all. Carl Crawford had a big miss in the outfield. A lot of just sloppiness defensively last night. It's something that drove me crazy sometimes last year, especially with Hanley Ramirez. Now, Hanley was such a big bat for them last year, but he was always such a liability on the infield. Very sloppy defensively. And last night we did see a lot more of that. Jimmy Rollins with a little bit of that. Turner had one of those in the field. Overall, too much sloppiness on the infield. But again, we're only 2 games in. Nothing that it's promising, because I think when you look at baseball right now, it comes down to who can hit, who has the bullpen who can work games, and who has the starting rotations. Right now, timely hitting seems to be the thing. Now, I'm always worried about that timely hitting factor. We've seen a lot of teams. I mean, when you look back to when the Red Sox won the World Series, I think it's back 2 seasons now, that was not a roster that I did not think that was as good a roster as a lot of teams in the MLB. But you know what they were better at than anybody else? Timely hitting. They were such an opportunistic lineup. They won the World Series. I don't think they were better than that Cardinals team that they beat. But they always had a guy when they needed a big hit, when they needed a play from somebody, they always got it. They were excellent opportunistic lineup, and I think that's something the Dodgers are kind of setting that tone early, which is really important, because you don't want to always be too reliant on the home run ball. You always want to be able to get consistent, timely hitting, and that's something that they've shown so far. And if they can continue to carry that, I think they're in great shape, because right now Hyun-Jin Ryu, their 3rd starter, is going to be out for a little while, so that's going to be a little bit of a hole to fill. We've got McCarthy on the mound tonight, which I'm excited to see Brandon McCarthy on the mound, because I watched him almost every one of his starts with the Yankees last year when they made the trade with Arizona. He was one of the best bright spots of the Yankees season last year. He was phenomenal. I mean, think about this. He was 3-10 with the Diamondbacks. He comes over to the Yankees, just completely changes everything. I think his first 5 starts were all wins. His ERA was very low, and it's a tougher league to pitch in that American League East. I mean, that's as tough a place to pitch as anybody in baseball. And the transition he made was just outstanding. I think it's a big plus for the Dodgers having him this year, because last year, after you got past Kershaw, Greinke, and Ryu, you had a lot of question marks. Josh Beckett was never consistent. You look at Dan Hare, never got anything consistent from him. Brandon McCarthy is going to be a really important spot for them, because filling out this pitching rotation for the Dodgers, it's definitely something they didn't have last year, and it's definitely a nice option to be able to fall back on. But it's been a lot of fun watching Dodgers baseball so far this season. 1-1 last night, a tough one. Staying up till 2:30. Never fun. When they get a win, it's always kind of fun. If not, it just makes you kind of groggy in the morning. But that is going to do it for this Dodgers baseball recap. Of course, I'll be here all the time breaking down Dodgers baseball. But let me know your thoughts on what the first 2 games have been so far. Drop a comment below, and I'll get back to it. But everyone, thank you for listening. Let's see if we come back with a little bit more news.